All right. So this is going to be a different video, a lot different from what I'm usually used to making. Um, I'm going to be sharing my testimony. So what a testimony is it's something that brings glory to God because of how they were saved and how they found Him. Um, and it's a very impactful thing, especially like with the passion that comes behind it and like the personal experience that those people have through their testimonies. It's such a like it's an enlightening thing. And honestly, hearing other people's testimonies help grow my faith too. I love hearing people's testimonies. It's crazy. Like how they experienced God personally. Um, but this is how I was saved. So I made a little list. I'm not gonna go off a script. I made notes to help me to like carve the path to the testimony. It's something I've been wanting to share on YouTube for so long, but I didn't know how to do it. And I honestly struggled with it because I didn't know I literally didn't know how to, and I was kind of afraid. But you know, I'm feeling confident in this. Okay, so to start it all off, um, I was born 2001. Um, Fun fact, this is crazy, by the way. Um, so before I was born, my mom was given the news that I was gonna have Down syndrome, and the doctors really pushed that they should abort me. Like they should get rid of the baby. They were hurt pretty hard from the news because they got the news that like I was positive for Down syndrome. I don't know how that works, but so they really encouraged my mom to abort the baby, like to get rid of me. And they just went through with it. They're like, "No, we'll keep him." And apparently when I was born, the test came back negative, and here we are. I'm still here. I don't think I have Down syndrome. Not that I know of. Um yeah, so as a kid, I grew up in the church. My grandma is a heavy Christian, and she was a heavy, like she still is, but like back then she was a heavy Christian. So like we would always go to church. I was always involved in the church, like the youth groups, and I think I helped with like I think it was oh my gosh, yeah. So me and Jacob, we had me and one of my homies, Jacob. Um, I remember this time we were like youth youth leaders as a kid, and like we got to hang out with like the little kids. Oh man, that was a good time. But yeah, I was always involved with like the church stuff. I was going to like the youth trips in our youth group. That's where I met Matt and Jacob. I've known them for so long. I've known them since I was like such a little kid, and I still talk to them to this day, which is crazy. Um, I grew up in the church. Always, I always knew about the church. I always knew of God, but I didn't know Him. It I didn't understand it. Like I didn't understand the grasp of like who He was. I just knew I didn't even, you know what? Now that I think about it, I don't even think I knew like no, that's what it was. I was very confused between the difference of Jesus Christ and God, and it all just like I didn't understand. So I was like, I didn't want. It was like I didn't want to understand because I had to use my brain, and I was a stupid little kid. So um, there was. I remember as a kid though, I did. I've said the sinner's prayer like countless of times. I've done the prayer where like you try and accept Jesus into your heart, but at the time, now that I'm looking back at it, I don't think I truly believed in him, and like I didn't really fully believe for him to come into my heart. So I even have receipts. That's my handwriting from 2009. I was 8 years old, and I did the prayer um, where I received Christ by faith through prayer. And I prayed this first on December 16th of 2009, and then apparently I prayed again on May 10th in 2013. I remember trying that because I the second time I remember trying it because I didn't feel like I believed hard enough, and like I feel like I didn't receive him that first time I did the prayer. So I tried again, and same thing happened. So I think it was at that point where I was like, okay, maybe this is what it's like. I did the prayer, so I'm okay. And I went on with my life. So for many years, I was away with God. It was so weird too because I talked to God a lot. Like before I was saved, I talked to him so much. And like I had conversations like full on. I was like joking with them too. So it's so weird. I That's something I still don't understand. Like I believed in him, but I didn't. I'll get to that later. I'll get to it later. But after these prayers, I of course grew up. I went through high school. I was always depressed in high school. I was always depressed. I was sad. I was listening to sad music all the time. I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I was barely pushing through school. Um, I, I, I had a lot of, I guess you could say, pain and shame, like in my heart as a kid, and like as a teen growing up through high school. You know, I just didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be on this earth. I didn't know what I was doing. I struggled with my identity a lot, with insecurities, depression, of course, suicidal tendencies. They weren't like huge though. Like the suicidal tendencies, they weren't huge. But it spoiler alert, it got worse. So, um after high school, I started drinking a lot. I became an alcoholic kind of. I was drinking a lot just so I could feel that high, like that rush. Um, that was the only thing I did though. I didn't smoke or anything like that. I drank a lot. I was a heavy drinker for a while, especially when I moved after high school. I was hurt because all of my friends were mad at me, and I was just depressed. So I tried going to school after it, but I still drank, and I eventually dropped out of college because of COVID. But yeah, it was a rough time. It was a rough time. I was very depressed. Um, there was a lot of times in my life where throughout all of this, I didn't know what I was doing. Like I said earlier, I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I struggled so much, and it was like there's two things. I always felt that deep sense of I'm created for something better, and I knew that deep down. I knew it, and it was like tugging me. It was literally like grabbing me by the shirt and like pulling me. And it happened so much. Like I can't even it was a crazy thing. And looking back at it now, I kind of know who it was. But um and there was this time where um I wanted to I didn't know what I was doing with my life. And I remember thinking, I just wish someone would show me what to do. And like I wish someone would just like walk me through it and tell me what to do. Not like parents or anything, because like parents tell you to do the wrong crap sometimes and it just throws you off and it doesn't make you happy. But like I always wanted that I always wanted that nudge to go do something. Like to be way to interrupt me, Satan. My gosh. Um, anyways, I always felt that nudge, and I was like, I really wish someone would show me what to do, show me how to walk this life, and like show me what I'm supposed to do in my life because I have no idea. And it was such a painful thing. It would hurt my heart every single day. Um, it was really rough. So I remember one time during church, I think it was 2021 December. I want to say it was during December, like the Christmas service. We had a candlelight service, and it was either this service or one before it. I'm pretty sure it was the candlelight though. There was this. They were talking like, do you know Jesus? Do you personally know him? And do you want to receive him into your life? And do you want to really accept him and get close to him? And I remember closing my eyes. I was like, God, I don't think I'm close to you. I don't. I want to get close to you. I want to know you. I don't know how. Please help me. That was the first time I ever got deep with God because I didn't know what I was doing. I literally had no idea. That's pretty much been my life. I didn't know what I was doing my entire life. I was so far gone and I was depressed. I didn't know what I was doing. So, a couple months later after the service, sorry, a couple months after this service, I got into my first relationship, my first genuine relationship with a Christian girl. And it went well, of course. It was good. It only went on for a while, but she helped me understand and get a little closer to God. Like I started reading my Bible a lot more. Um, for the first time in like years on my own, I started reading my Bible. I started like going to Him instead of anything else and instead of any distractions. It was nice. And I remember for the first time during that relationship, I praised God for how well it was going. And I was like, man, I'm actually happy. Like it's actually happening. Like I feel happy. And um 3 days before we broke up, this crystal clear voice, I swear, it repeated itself like 3 or 4 times. All I heard was break up, break up, break up. It was during work too. I was in the I was in the dairy cooler at work when I heard it. I stood still and I was like, "What? Why would I do that?" I didn't know it was God. I didn't. So I was like, "Okay, that's scary." Moving on. A couple days after I heard that voice, it was like it was like a day or two. No, 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 it was one day. It was one day. It's like a day after I heard that voice. Text started getting a little dry and I was scared. I was like, "Oh no, I'm like pouring myself out." And I'm pouring myself out to her and nothing's happening. Like there was that one text that I think of like I poured my heart out to her and then I just got like an emoji response. Which by the way, just to be clear, all has been forgiven. I am nowhere near mad at her and I want the best for her in her future. But um I was scared of that text and I was like, "Oh my gosh. No, no, no. This isn't happening." On July 1st of 2022, it was midnight. No, no, no. It was the midnight before July 1st. So what is that? Like June 31st or something? Is there a June 31st? June 30th. Okay. On June 30th, it was like that midnight. It was like almost midnight on June 30th. There's it was just multiple texts of like reassurance, like nothing's ever gonna happen between us. Like it's the best, we're fine, chilling. Literally the day after, she came to my work and we broke up in my parking lot, in the parking lot of my work. Um, I started I started reassuring and I was like, okay, that's fine, cool, I understand. And um, it was a really hard thing. I remember clocking out early. I was like, hey, I'm going home. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going home. I need to go home. I'm not well. So uh, after that, I found a parking lot, just started bawling out crying. And I was so hurt. I was so hurt because this was the one time where I felt like it could be it could actually mean something, and like this could actually be real. So I was like, man, I lost it. So I was just beating myself up. I was beating myself up so much. And I remember calling AJ. Shout out to AJ. I love that dude. That's my brother. I called AJ on my way home. I was like, AJ, we broke up. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know what I'm doing. I was just bawling out, crying. He was comforting me. He was literally a godsend. I didn't. I was just at a loss for words. I was so hurt. My heart was like it literally felt like my heart was in pieces. Like it was literally in pieces scattered around my body. Like it can't be repaired. Um, so the rest of that day, after I got home, I was just I was a mess. I was in my room all day. I didn't eat. I was crying my heart out. I was crying my heart out so much that it was like the screaming, like the silent screams. Like I literally, I wanted to die so bad. I had my knife right next to me, and excuse me, I was ready to kill myself. I was about to do it. There was many times, many times where I was close to doing it. And that night was one of them. And I think I just knocked out from crying so much. I can't remember that part really, like that night too well, because I know I was just so hurt. I just cried so much. Um, and the next day, I woke up. Thank God I had the day off. It was literally like God's timing, and that I had the day off, and AJ drove all the way from Arizona to California for me. He called me. He's like, "Hey, get up, get your butt outside. We're going." It's like, I don't wanna. I was like, it was like that. It's kind of like how you sound when you wake up and you're like, I don't wanna. But like, add that with like depressed and you're like ready to give up, like that kind of voice. And he was like, get up. We're gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna get you out. We're gonna have a good day. And he barges in the freaking house. He barges in and he's like, get up. We're going. Oh my gosh. So we didn't go to the gym, but he took me out. He called he called up a couple homies, called up Christian and Zach, see what they were doing, and we all got together and we went to Christian's house. We bought freaking water guns. We bought water guns and just tried to have a good time. It was a good time. It was. I was in a lot of pain still, but we had a lot of time, well, a lot of fun, and I'm blessed for that. They took care of me that day. That God took care of me that day with them. Um, yeah, I remember at the end of the hangout we had, I was having panic attacks I started having actual panic attacks like throughout the day, and I was like, what if she texted me? Oh my gosh, I didn't look at my phone all day, every day. What if she texts me? And I was miserable, man. So, man, AJ tried to comfort me a lot. He comforted me throughout the day, and he took me home after we were done hanging out, having a good time, and I felt a little better. I felt a little uplifted in spirits, I guess you could say. I don't know. And it just immediately went downhill. As soon as I entered my room, I was just a mess. I started crying again. And I remember my older sister came into the room to comfort me, and I just flat out said like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to die. I want to kill myself. This pain is too much. Like I'm in so much pain. I don't want this anymore. As I'm crying my freaking heart out. And I like immediately as I said it, I started apologizing to her because I know that's like mentally scarring to hear from like your brother. So I just started apologizing immediately and it just made it worse. I started crying even harder and just man. Yeah, man. It was rough. It was a rough time. But I remember knocking out pretty easily that night because I mean I all I did was just cry all night. And crying makes you tired, so I cried and then you know. Um I remember waking up the next morning and thank God again I didn't have work. I woke up the next morning again, July 3rd of 2022. I had got my knife. I still have that knife. I got my knife. I opened it and I got it right here, right next to my chest. It's literally pointing at my chest. And I was like ready to literally throw that thing in and just end it. I would not be here right now. I would be dead. But instead, I put the knife down. And for the first time in my life, I lifted my hand up to the ceiling while I'm in tears. And I said, God, I need you. Please. As soon as I lifted my hand up in the sky, I felt like a hand like okay, so my hand's like this, like up in the sky, but like obviously like way higher. While I'm laying down, I reach my hand up. I felt the hand like grab me like that or kind of I don't know, kind of like that. I felt the hand grab my hand, and immediately I was filled. Literally like I felt chills go down my entire body. And I started laughing out of nowhere. I felt his presence, his love, and his joy all in one for the first time in my life. Right when I was about to kill myself, I felt his presence. I got up. I started standing up and laughing. Of all the things, I literally started jumping and laughing. It was the most it was of course the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. I didn't know what was happening, but I felt joy. In the midst of my brokenness, I felt him. It was unbelievable. I've never felt anything like it. I and it's the way I am now. If God did not grab my hand, I would either A, not be here on this earth, I'd be dead, or B, I'd be somewhere a lot worse. And that can mean that can mean multiple things. He rescued me from suicide and depression and heartbreak and everything else. And it's so personal to me with that because I've been depressed all my life up to that point. Everything has gone wrong in my life. Like I everything sucked. I hated life so much. I didn't know what I was doing. I was depressed the entire time. And for the first time I felt joy in his presence and I didn't know how to react. I started laughing. So having that personal connection through something I've been suffering with all my life means everything to me. I I would not trade it for anything in the world. Anything. Eh, because it's crazy because I don't struggle with that anymore. I know my identity now. I don't okay, of course I struggle with stuff still. I'm not perfect. I'm going to struggle with stuff, but I don't struggle like I used to. I don't struggle with depression anymore because I know God is with me. I don't struggle with anxiety as much. Of course I still do, but it's I don't my purpose is in him now and I've found he helped me find it. I didn't find it. He found me. It was it's outstanding what he can do for someone like me especially. Like why me? Um it's crazy. It's such a personal thing that it's just it's outstanding to me. Oh my gosh. Dude, I'm smiling because of how good he is, dude. The fact that he did that for me, and if he did it for me, he could do it for anyone, and that's the truth. And he wants to do it for everyone. Um, and from that moment on, I've changed for the better. It's the best thing you could ever do in your life is finding God and accepting Jesus into your heart. It truly is. Uh, it was rough for a while though, because I was still struggling with heartbreak. So it took I don't remember. I think it took about 8 months to heal, like fully from a broken heart, and to get out of the depression cycles. Um, I was pursuing church and God, and it was while I was pursuing all that while I was still hurt. So it helped me a lot, and I'll never forget that church. I love them, and I hope they're doing amazing. I hope they're all doing well. Um, man, yeah, he really did save me from offing myself, and I still can't believe it. It's such a beautiful thing. I was getting emotional there. I'm sorry. It was cool. I was getting emotional because it's so cool, and like he's so good. Um, so I think because I got saved in July, so I was saved on July 3rd of 2022. I'm gonna remember that day for the rest of my life. Excuse me. Um, in December. I moved states, moved from California out to Texas. Took about so 8 months ish, 7-ish months to heal from a broken heart. So it was like January or February. February. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not even gonna try. The second month of the year. How about that? um, yeah, it took me about 8 months to fully heal from a heartbreak. Um, 8 months for God to heal a heart that He didn't break. That's for sure. And here I am now. Um, Life's been crazy with walking with God. So, I mean, I left my old friend group, which was super hard to do, but it had to be done. It had to. It was a really rough thing to do. Oh my gosh, that's another thing. That's another topic for another video if I do one. But I left my friend group. I've been delivered from an ungodly soul tie, which is probably the second craziest thing I've ever experienced with God. I would love to talk about that in another video if I do. That is crazy. That was, oh my gosh. Um, but I mean, everything's grown, everything's changed. I feel like a completely different man. My character's changed. My faith has grown. I've been saved from depression, suicide, anger, lust, alcoholism, or whatever. I don't know the big word for that. Um, Insecurities, sin. I actually take care of my temple now. Like I actually like eat better, and I'm a lot healthier. That's for dang sure. And I work out a little bit more. I try to, at least. I'm still kind of bad on not doing it as much as I want to, but I'm trying. And now I lead people closer to God. It's it has been a freaking wild ride, and I love it. I'm here for it. It's hard. It is very difficult, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Um, yeah, it's been cool. It's been really cool, and I of course encourage everyone to truly encounter and try to encounter God, because I know one personal encounter with Him and everything changes. It really does. And real quick, if you or anyone you know that you love is going through something similar, like something through like heartbreak or anxiety or insecurities or depression, suicidal tendencies, um, there is really truly someone out there who loves you, and it's never their love is never going to change for you. And his name is Jesus. He loves you so much. Here's a verse I would like to share with you that got me through my personal hardest times of my life. It's even on this thing. I love this verse so much because I put it right here for encouragement. But it's Romans 8:18. For I consider that our current sufferings cannot be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in us. It means that the things you're going through right now are not the end of it. It just it's basically like a promise that there's going to be better days. And the pain that you're feeling is not what's going to be there forever. There is going to be joy. If you hold on to that promise, you will see it come to pass. And if you are going through it, something personal like that, if you are personally going through that, Jesus does love you, and He wants to know you. He wants to fill that heart. He wants to take care of your pain. He wants to take care of your burdens. He wants to help you. He really does. And if he did it for me, he could do it for anyone. You are never too far gone. Ever. So thank you real quick for listening to me talk about my testimony. It's very, very long video. I apologize. I'll try and edit it down a little bit. I'm only going to edit down like me getting interrupted and like the thing the one thing I screwed up on. Yeah, that's okay. Thank you again for watching this. It means a lot to me. It's something I've been personally wanting to talk about for a while. So I'm glad I was finally able to do it. Maybe I'll make more videos like this where I'm just talking about faith. That'd be cool. But of course, I'm still going to make like the game videos as well. I'm going to do a little twist on those now though. I'm going to start doing it differently. Excuse me. Sorry. But yeah, thank you for watching. I don't know how to end this. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you again. Bye.